What's going on, ambitious vet? Thanks for diving right back inside the trenches with us this week as we seek to provide you the golden grenades you need to get yourself out of your own way and fuel your desire to make an impact post-military. This is your podcast built by veterans for veterans as we dive into the trenches with today's top subject matter experts, share inspiring transition stories, and provide masterclasses to equip you to reach your full potential. Bottom line is, this is your place to go after immediate transitional education expires.
Hi, I'm Michelle Seidling, CEO at Food Experience Unplugged. As an Army veteran and health coach, I know how overwhelming life gets at a time when so many things clamor for your attention. Taking care of yourself, both inside and out, is key to having the creativity, drive, and stamina you need to be successful in your post-military life. If you're ready to bring your A game to each and every experience, check out our website at foodexperienceunplugged.com for some great resources to fuel your body and your life.
It's time to get into the trenches, dig into your purpose, and fire up your life's fulfillment. The Ambitious Vet Podcast starts now.
Hey, Ambitious Vet. Welcome right back inside the trenches. If you're brand new, I'm your host, Chris Hoffman. We've been doing this show for about 4 years now, and every single week I get more and more juiced, more moto, and, as I tell the Marines that listen to this show, my cram box gets filled up from talking to some of the guests and also getting some aha moments that I get to share periodically, like this episode where it's a solo round where I get to provide some golden grenades for you to help you break through to new levels of fulfillment, satisfaction, and success in your life after that immediate transitional education expires. So what's going to be today's topic? It's going to be avoiding resignation on the path to finding post-military purpose. The past month, I had to struggle, Ambitious Vet, hearing one of my best friends from my Marine Corps days share how easy it for him is to get distracted by life problems that are leading him to this place of resignation, or in Barney terms, getting into this screw it mentality. It's not even worth it anymore, which then leads to isolation, anger, and depression, which we all know where that could eventually lead if we don't make time to have these conversations with people that we've served with in the past, right? So here are some of the life risk factors, Ambitious Vet, that he was describing that led him to this resignation to where he had no drive or motivation or even clarity on what his life purpose was that would drive him forward. These life factors were stacking up against him to a point where it was just like, it was too heavy, right? So here are some of the life factors that he was sharing that, you may identify with or have friends out there in the trenches post-military dealing with these. And I just want you to start seeing how you can identify these life risk factors in your life or your friend's life to make a bigger difference for yourself or them. So what was the first risk factor my friend was sharing? Is he was having relationship issues with his ex-wife who he had a child with, a little beautiful baby boy. And he was sharing how his ex-spouse was creating problems in his life that weren't necessarily there. And I think we all can relate to that, right? Where someone's bringing drama, gossip, things that don't even really matter to the broader scheme of what our life is up to, but we have to kind of just get it based on the politics of the situation, right? And this, he continued to share that this was constantly a stressor in his life. Now, number 2 life risk factor that he was sharing is trying to become competent in a new tech career path. He was sharing how he's been pursuing certifications, a degree, things that just make him more competent in his career. So obviously he could help pay for child support, pay for his own lifestyle, and feel like he's actually doing something that he loves to do in life. The third factor, losing friends via suicide. He was sharing that he said, Chris, and it's hard for me to share this, but he's like, I lost one of my best friends in the Marine Corps. And, he didn't even communicate to me. And how many of us have lost someone to suicide? And as we continue to be out longer and longer post-military, and he was holding that weight. The last life risk factor is feeling lonely and making poor decisions just to feel more connected with people. I think a lot of us can experience this, right? When we're feeling resigned, we're isolating ourselves. The first person that's just like, hey man, let's go to the club, let's go to the bar. We end up going. And then at the end of the night, we end up with an empty bank account and, feeling lonely, right? How many of us have actually experienced that? I've experienced that a lot when I was in my, mid to late 20s, right? And it's just poor decision making, right? Versus reaching out to people that pull you out of the hole versus just pour more fuel inside the hole that you have to scramble inside of. Now, with that said, Ambitious Vet, let's kind of expand out another 10,000 foot view of all these risk factors that I just mentioned. With the ex-spouse and creating problems inside of his life, that's just a relationship conflict, that he needs to focus on developing the skills. If it's better listening skills, to just kind of get where she's coming from, right? To kind of evolve that and not internalize it, in other words, right? He's a very philosophical person, so he would internalize everything that his spouse was saying. So relationship conflict. Then from there, it was, trying to become competent in his career. And it was really a self-awareness thing. How do I continue to improve so I can make the money I want to make and make the difference I want to make in the world? Losing friends. That's a self-management component of this thing, right? How are you managing your emotions, your thoughts, everything as you're looking to improve as a person? The last one, feeling lonely and just making poor decisions by going out and surrounding yourself with the wrong people. That's a self-management and a social awareness standpoint that you just have to slow down enough to kind of be like, hey, is this a good decision based on what I'm currently dealing with, right? And maybe you reach out to somebody at that point and be like, hey, here's kind of the X, Y, and Z of this whole thing. How do we create a better formula here to equal this, right? So what I want to encapsulate this whole thing, Ambitious Vet, is this is all emotional intelligence, right? Relationship management, self-awareness, self-management, just really being able to create the social awareness of who you need to be surrounding yourself when you're trying to deal with certain things in a way that is progressive, not pulling you deeper into anger or depression. So it's easy to allow all these lifestyle factors to stack up against you to a point where it squeezes the purpose out of your life and you begin to lack the drive, the motivation, and the ability to maintain clarity of purpose that really has you be happy. In military language, it's really just saying staying inside the fight and staying inside the fight as long as it takes to win the war. The question you got to ask yourself, or the question you got to ask your friend that may be dealing with some of this stuff, the great resignation, right? Just this resignation and completely detached or disconnected from their purpose or other people, is what is the fight? And how do you know when you win or lose the war? The fight's more the tactics. The war is going to be the strategy. So I want you to ask that of yourself, or I want you to ask that of other people around you. One thing we recently revealed in our recent qualitative research study, Ambitious Vet, is us as veterans, we just suck at building support systems around what we're up to or what we want to accomplish in life, hence purpose, right? And I am the first one to own that for myself. Every problem that I solve, I ask myself, how do I become bigger than it versus how do I create teams or communicate with people to where the volume of people around it become bigger than the problem. In comparison, in the military, you had to endure the suck is what we called it, right? And how did you do it? It was leaning on peers to get through it by them providing you encouragement, resources, insights, tools. You fill in the blank. If, and I know if you really slow down enough, you'll be thinking about an issue that you were enduring the suck. And someone, a buddy, maybe a battle buddy, helped you with something, right? So you've got to just figure out how to translate that in the civilian life whenever you're not forced to have a social support system around you and you're forced to get out there and just be like, man, this freaking sucks. I'm about to be at screw it mode. Please help me. And I'm thankful my buddy did this. Now, also inside of our qualitative research study we recently released with the University of Texas at San Antonio, we referenced Dr. Daniel Goleman, who's the godfather of positive psychology, more specific emotional intelligence, right? We pretty much just shared his model of emotional intelligence inside of it and how veterans can become more proactive versus reactive in their life. Dr. Goleman is the godfather of positive psychology. He's also a best-selling author of the book Emotional Intelligence and an incredible podcast host of First Person Plural, Emotional Intelligence and Beyond. And he was quoted in saying this recently, I think in a Korn Ferry article, Ambitious Vet, and you can go Google this and read more of the article. But he was just saying people are wired to be motivated by what's meaningful to them. Not only does purpose bolster well-being and engagement, it can actually motivate us to find ways to better manage ourselves and things around us, right? So in other words, you've got to stay connected to what's meaningful for you, and that's what's going to keep you motivated inside the trenches of everyday life. Now, what do I want you to take from this, Ambitious Vet? Well, you've got to find areas of life that you feel resigned about or identify those in people inside of your social support systems, right? Or in other words, if you don't know what resigned feels like or can't identify it, where are you seeing yourself or other people just in this screw it mentality? Like, whatever, it's not even worth it anymore. And they've just kind of settled in that area of life. Identify the risk factors similar to what I've just communicated and get in communication with people who can help you think through ways to get back tuned into what motivates you, right? Kind of the why, the Simon Sinek why behind the things. Would love to hear kind of what you get out of that via an email, or if you join our free Facebook group, the Ambitious Vet Network on Facebook. We also have a Ambitious Vet Network LinkedIn group as well. Feel free to share what you get out of that. Would love to hear about it. And Ambitious Vet, just in conclusion here, I just want to thank you for tuning into this show, and I hope that you're getting a lot out of it. As we continue to deepen our content here, by data based on you who are the listeners here, we understand more on what you want, right? But we don't know what you want if we're not continuing to collect the feedback, right? So what I mean by that is make sure you go to iTunes or whatever your favorite listener app is and just give us a review. Rate it and let us know how we're doing and serving you. And if it is lower than a 5-star, make sure you share how we can improve for you, because obviously, we're good enough for you to show up. Our job is to keep you showing up, and we don't know how to do that if you're not opening up the feedback loop for us. Ambitious Vet, this is Chris Hoffman. I appreciate you. Until next time, hold the vision and trust the process. Take care.
The Ambitious Vet is available on all popular podcast platforms. Go to vettrainingcoaching.com to subscribe, rate, and share with fellow vets.
Hi, I'm Michelle Seidling, CEO at Food Experience Unplugged. As an Army veteran and health coach, I know how overwhelming life gets at a time when so many things clamor for your attention. Taking care of yourself, both inside and out, is key to having the creativity, drive, and stamina you need to be successful in your post-military life. If you're ready to bring your A game to each and every experience, check out our website at foodexperienceunplugged.com for some great resources to fuel your body and your life.